Maximizing your SAT score in the math section using Desmos, you have to know these keyboard shortcuts. So, of course, there are some shortcuts that are, let me say this first. Make sure you are using the College Board digital SAT practice when you're doing your practice self-study at home or wherever you may be. Very important. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch our previous video where I explained how to do that. So now let's look at how we can get these shortcuts using the keyboard. So if we see the keyboard on our screen, I'm going to just try to use my words to tell you where they are. So of course, we know our basic operations are going to be what? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And so we can use the keyboard to do that, right? And so firstly, if you do shift equal, that will give you your plus sign, all right? Shift equal will give you the plus sign. Of course, your subtraction sign may be the easiest of them all. You just literally click the dash button on your screen on the top right beside the plus sign, right? Or the equal sign. And then your multiplication sign. So you're going to have to utilize your shift, and then 8 will give you the multiplication sign. And then lastly, division. Well, when we're doing division, you're going to click or type the backward slash, and the backward slash is the other one that you don't have to hit a shift for. So backward slash, and then you can put your fraction however you want it. Okay, so those are the operations using your keyboard. Next, we're going to look at special operators, right, or operations. And so let me clear this here. And so for instance, we may use or less than, right? This again is going to be the third key from your right shift. And of course, the keyboards are a little bit different sometimes depending on the type of computer you have. But for the most part, these are going to be in the same position. All right. And then, of course, your greater than is going to be right beside it, right? Again, on the bottom right. Also, we have our absolute value. And so to get your absolute value bar, you're going to have to hit the shift key, and the forward slash will give you the absolute value bar. So if you want to say, oh, the absolute value of X, right? That's what we would do. All right. And so next, what we have is the percent sign. So to get the percent sign, of course, we're going to do what? Shift and the percent sign. Shift and the number 5 will give you the percent sign. Don't be alarmed. Usually when we're doing percentage, we're doing a percentage of something, right? And so typically you'll say, oh, you want 10% off. And that's why it said percent off, because typically you're doing 10% off something, right? If that's not the case, you can just erase it, right? All right. And then the last thing, very powerful, is what we call the tilde. And so the tilde is going to be the shift, and it's going to be that key to the left of the number 1. And once you click that, you'll get your tilde. Now, the tilde is a very powerful tool. We use this a lot in our Desmos crash course. And I'll link, put a link below for that. But we use this a lot because a lot of people don't know about the tilde. And maybe we'll do a special video just for the tilde, but the tilde is a powerful thing that you can use to solve typically really any question that you would like on the SAT exam. All right, now with those are some of your special operations. So what else do we have here? With the keyboard, sometimes you can do the square root as well. So SQRT will give you the square root. Let's say the square root of 16, right? Now also, if you want the cube root, you'll do CBRT. That will give you your cube root. Put whatever value you have in there. Of course, we know pi. Pi is popular on the SAT. You will just type the word PI, right? PI, and you'll have pi. Right, it kind of comes in so quickly. All right, and then next, the fraction. When we're typing fraction, if you don't want to, stop your mojo when you're going through FRAC, right? FRAC. Try it again. Let's go down. FRAC, and you'll get the fraction. And again, you can do, let's say, 8/9. All right. And so one thing I do want to note here, when we put something, raising it to an exponent. So for instance, let's say you have x squared. Sometimes people don't know how to get out of that exponent, right? And so to get out of the exponent, there's several ways you can do this. If you put an operator, let's say like plus, it automatically takes you out of the exponent. Or if you just hit the forward key button, it takes you out. So you can use either way, but be mindful if you're in the exponent key and you want to, this is you using your keyboard, right? So again, you using X, you go Shift 6, takes you up. And let's say you wanted to do X, let's say X plus 5, right? X raised to the X plus 5. Notice what happened is when you hit that operation plus, any operation will take you out. So what you would want to do, instead of doing that, you have two ways. You could do 5 plus X. Or you could do you could do 5, put the plus sign in front, and then keep going, right? Our X plus 5 that way. That's one way to do it. Or what we typically suggest in mathematics, you make sure you put your parentheses. And so that way, it'll keep it in that upper power, right? So that's very important for you to know. Sometimes students get a little confused with that. Again, you can use the forward arrow to get out, or you can use a operator to get out. But let's say you don't want to do any of this. You don't know what I'm talking about. You can't, you're freaking out on the test day, right? So let's see where else you can go. And so before I even go any further, I just want to stop you and say, if you find this video helpful, do like, share, and subscribe so you can see all the videos that we're going to be dropping weekly to help you maximize your math score on the SAT. Alrighty, so here you can come down to the bottom here, bottom left, you'll see show keyboard. All of the operations that I just discussed are in fact on the keyboard. So you have minus, multiplication, division, plus, equal, right? And so with this key, you can use your square power. So if you have X and you just want to square it, ta-da, there it is, right? And so, of course, your absolute value is listed here as well. And let's say you want other operations, you can come here. You'll have the tilde that we just discussed, right? So you have several options, your percent and those type of things, right? And so also very important is the function key, the functions. So there are going to be different functions. Sometimes you may have to do some trigonometric, very few, on the SAT. And so you'll have your sine, cosine, and those type of things. This is very important to know, your mean, median, mode functions. Of course, we can always do that in the, and I'll probably talk about that on another video, but you can actually type that in your chat without using the function here. And so because, you know, we're trying to maximize our time on the SAT. So it's good to know the keyboard and how to use your keyboard without having to click all these different things. But if you cannot remember, then you'll come here, right? And so there are many operations here. A lot of times they have the histograms and the dot plots or box plots, right? But we'll look at how we utilize these statistical things in a future video. All right. So I hope you find this helpful. Until next time.